see. Hi. Let's see. I'm waiting for Kelly to join in here and see. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Let's add. Let's hope this works.
Hi.
Hi. Like, yay, it's working.
Oh, it's working.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, like, for my own page, I've never actually gone live, like, with somebody. So I was like, I think this is how you do it. I don't really know. So anyway,
This is a first for me as well. Yes, I have 2 puppies here, and I've been gone most all day, and so they may make an appearance.
of course. So they need some attention, of course.
Yes.
Yes. So how are you feeling? Are you like nervous or excited or?
Both. I mean, my heart rate is definitely up just a little bit just because this is way outside of my comfort zone. Like, being on my own screen is something that I'm trying to get better at.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I think it's like the first time is always so scary because especially when it's live, I don't know. Oh, look, she says you're doing fantastic.
This is Sadie.
Oh, hello, Sadie.
And then this is Scout.
Oh my goodness, hello. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So cute. How old are they? Are they like actually puppies?
Sadie is about 8 months old, and then Scout is like a year and a few months.
Okay. So yeah, so basically, wow.
Yeah.
So fun. So fun. I love all animals, and like 99% of my brides have dogs, and I always joke that it's because I'm like a puppy. Like my personality, I'm like just I don't know that I'm like puppy, and so
Okay.
and so I'm like it just cracks me up though that like statistically they like all have dogs. It's kind of funny, but
Yeah.
I am just an animal person, so I love it.
We are as well.
Okay, so I just want to tell you, don't be nervous. So ever since I announced that I was doing this with you this Tuesday, I've gotten so many messages from other photographers willing to do it too. And so I just was like, that's so good because like when I first posted about it, you were the first one to message me. Aww. And I was super excited about that, obviously. But I know that like putting yourself out there like this can be like super rough. Yeah. And so super vulnerable, super scary. And so I just wanted to tell you that your boldness has already encouraged so many others to sign up for it too. So
well, good. That's exciting.
Yay. I'm glad. Okay. So first, let's just like tell everybody a little bit about you and, where you're located, what kind of photography you do, how you got started, all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, my husband and I, we live in northern Illinois now near Rockford. We live in a town called Roscoe. And we've lived here for about 13 and a half years. We moved here from near the Champaign area. His job brought us here. And
Uh-oh.
I knew this was going to happen.
You know what? It only makes people love you more. So
it's unreal. So my wonderful husband is here helping me. So
hello, husband.
Hello.
Like, what exactly are you doing? So yeah, I was like, oh, my lights in here are horrible, so I better set up a light. So I set up a light.
Oh, and so they're knocking it over. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, God. Okay, So we both, my husband and I both grew up in Central Illinois, and his job brought us north.
Okay.
So yeah, we live here. We love our community. I have a little bit of a unique story, and it's really my why, like why I started doing what I'm doing. But I started intentionally taking photos in 2009 after our oldest daughter was diagnosed with a very rare and very horrible diagnosis. She was diagnosed with a genetic condition called Sanfilippo syndrome, and that's really why I picked up a camera, because when we got her diagnosis, we knew that she was going to die. We found out quickly that it was a terminal situation, and so I knew that photos would be all that we would have of her after she passed away. So that's why I picked up a camera. And I think because of that situation, it really reshaped me as a person and reshaped what I was seeing and what I was feeling and how I was interacting with people as well as her. And people started to notice, and they would ask me like, hey, I love your photos that you're posting. Would you come and take a picture of my family? And I said yes, here and there. But her diagnosis, it was a progressively degenerative disorder. So she was born very typical, and then slowly over time, everything went away. So towards the end of her life, she needed complete care. And so I really didn't do a lot and really kind of kept to myself. I knew that I was going to need something once she was gone. And so in 2016, I got my LLC. I started paying my taxes and really sat on my business and didn't make an announcement so she died in September of 2018. And then I made the announcement on what would have been her 11th birthday in February of 2018. So that's kind of the quick synopsis of like how I got into business and what I'm doing today. So the type of photography that I really love, I love high school. I love high school seniors, and so I market myself for high school seniors and professional branding and providing social media content for businesses, small business owners. I have an office space at a co-working business in Beloit, which is just about 17 minutes from here. So we're very close to the Wisconsin border. But I love being in there because it puts me in front of a lot of other business owners and great learning opportunities. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my quick story.
Well, that's fun though. So first off, for the people watching that just heard your story for the first time, me and Kelly chatted on the phone the other day so that she could tell me her story before the live video. And, I just was frankly just like in awe of your strength and your, obviously, losing a child is like, oh gosh, it's like one of every parent's fears, but and I'm like, I lose sleep over it probably at least once a week, like a fear of like that. And so like the fact that you have gone through that and you're like on the other side and doing such amazing things, just is absolutely incredible to me. And, and I think, and, kind of what I told you on the phone, I wanted them to hear too, is that, a lot of times with photographers, we want to do what we want to do, which is to be in front of a camera. But we don't want to do a lot of that behind the scenes work of like digging deep, finding our origin story, things like that. And that's exactly what you have there. That is like your story and, what truly led you to photography. And, and I think that is something that is so powerful. you know, not just for like other photographers to hear, but even just for like your clients and things like that. And, you know, even if it's like not something that you like post about all the time, if it's just like on your About Me page or a blog post or something like that, like, you know, it's one of those things that it's like, you know, when you told me your story, instantly, I just like felt connected to you. You know, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like this is another mom, like hearing just your voice when you were talking about your daughter and just all of these things, like just completely resonated, you know, as a mom of like little girls and stuff. Like I just was like, like, you know, and that's what telling our story does. You know, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like not always enjoyable to tell everybody, you know, but it's
Right.
like one of those things that it allows our marketing to feel more real because it's coming from a real place. And so you know, I always encourage my photographers in the course to tell their story, to have it on their About Me page, write a blog post about it, post about it every once in a while on social media. It doesn't have to be all the time, but just, you know, there's a lot of value in story and the connection that it establishes, you know, with other people. So, but I just wanted them to kind of hear what I had told you on the phone, because I know how scary it can be to tell your story. So, so you said though that you do like branding, photography for businesses, and did you say something about handling their social media, or what was it that you?
Well, I would love to do that, but just like when I'm hired or asked to do like headshots for a business, I try to find out you know what they do first off, and then if it's appropriate, in addition to a headshot, I will try to find ways to provide some social media content for them through photography. Like, you know, one of my girlfriends just opened a bridal shop in Rockton, which is the town over. And, you know, she had some professional headshots done, but then I was able to provide, you know, some detailed shots that she could use for social media posts. So it's not just like a picture of her face. It's also a gallery full of, you know, wedding dresses or, you know, the products that she has in her shop, things like that. So that I really, really love doing that. I would love to be asked to run people's social media pages, but you know, that's down the road, I think, unless somebody on here. Oh, she's on here. She just waved.
I was gonna say I saw a bridal shop join on here, so I wonder if it's her.
Yeah.
So what's super cool is I absolutely love this. So a few years ago in my business, I actually started doing branding photos, and then but then I noticed kind of what you're saying. You wanted like having. It's so funny because most photographers have like a photography background and then they have to learn business and marketing. I have a business and marketing background and I had to learn photography. So it was like the opposite.
Yeah.
But I found that what I was having to do was to educate people on the importance of showing up on social media, not just in the way of their product and services, but also just in other ways. And so I started this thing called like a content club. And so like they get to decide how many times a year they have these photo sessions done. And most people will do it like 4 times. And throughout the year, they'll get photos done for their business. One time might be like them and their family, so they could do like more personal posts. One night time might be more like you know, actual like product shots, or it just depends what type of business it is. Another time might be like, you know, like lifestyle shots of like, I don't know, like I have a company that does like shirts. So she actually gets like real life, and her ideal client is moms. So she'll like find real life local moms to be the models for these photos, and we'll like do them and their kids like hanging out and doing all this cool stuff. And so, but what I found was that I had to do education to get them to want to purchase that, because everybody was in this mindset of like, oh, we just need headshots. And I'm like, no, you need more.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so if you're not already, I would use your social media as a way to educate local businesses on the importance of social media marketing and not just having images for a website.
Yes.
Yes. So do you
That's
do
a
that
great.
on your?
No, I mean, so social media is so like I said before, my daughter passed away 2 years ago, and it has just been like a weird place for me, like as far as social media and posting and knowing what to say, and knowing, like, I want people to know, like, above and beyond, like, where I'm coming from is, from my heart. And like, I don't want to come across as salesy, but I think what I'm learning is that all you can do is educate people, like you just said. Like, give them the why, tell them why they would maybe need me or need a service like that.
Mm-hmm. So what I teach my photographers in my course about social media is that it's like a first date. So I love watching The Bachelor. It's like my thing. I just watch it every Monday. And I always tell them, I'm like, we like to walk in like we're on an episode of The Bachelor and be offering our, potential clients roses like all over the place. Like that's not what we should do. We don't need to propose on social media. We don't need to be like selling on social media. Social media is like a first date, a second date, a third date, a fourth date. What photographers need to be doing on social media is showing up, giving free advice to their clients. And the reason we do free advice is because it establishes you as an expert. So when you give them free advice on marketing, social media marketing, even if it's something you just learned a week ago, like even if it's something that you're still trying to implement or whatever, like, sharing that struggle and that growth with them at the time, establishes you as an expert. But then also when we're on social media, we need to make sure we're establishing connecting points. So when we go on a first date with somebody, we're like, so where did you grow up? What do you do? What kind of animals do you have? All of these different things. We just focus on telling stories and like connecting with one another, finding common ground, right? Like, what do we have in common? Let's talk about that. And so that's what we should really do on social media. And so, like, for example, I really market myself to moms. I never really used Instagram for my photography business ever. I used Facebook. And that's how I grew my business. And so I marketed myself to moms. And so I watched what they were looking at on social media. So I like went to a few profiles of people that I had worked with that I knew were like my ideal clients. And I was like, okay, what kind of, like, if they're scrolling Facebook and they see an article, what kind of article stops them and makes them click? And usually it's something that's solving their problems. And so I'm like, okay, so that's what I need to be doing. I need to be solving their problems. And then another thing I did is like, I wanted people to share my content. And so what kind of content are they sharing? Well, mothers share memes all the freaking time because motherhood is like the hardest, most wonderful thing ever. And so I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to post memes like 3 times a week. And so that's what I started doing. And one of them, it got over like 30,000 people in engagement. There was like dentist office sharing. It was really funny meme. But so that sounds really random, but it was like so good. But so I started focusing on what content my ideal client was looking at and sharing, and what they were looking into on social media, and that's what I put out there. I stopped looking at what other photographers were doing. I stopped looking at all these things because it's like, none of that could be a really good post, but if it doesn't matter to my ideal client, then it just doesn't matter. So your goal is going to be to really connect with your ideal client, share your business struggles, offering them a little bit of tidbits of help at the end, things like that, kind of almost like kind of what you see, hopefully me doing on my feed, like, I've been really struggling with productivity. Here's what I've been trying to learn and do, or whatever, things like that. But then also just like using your story and connecting with them and things like that too.
Okay, so I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm, I really enjoy high school seniors and, professional branding.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion on, like, is that something that I can manage on my single business page, or
Yes.
is it okay? So
yes.
I can hit all of that. It's
yes.
not going to turn off my senior clients.
Nope. Here's the thing. So, and I struggled with that because here's everything that's on my photography page. Here's what I have. I have weddings, newborns, families, and seniors, all kind of wrapped into one. And then I do branding. And I also have this class called Momtography 101, where I teach moms how to use their cameras to take pictures of kids, all on the same website. Okay. And it might sound insane. And honestly, I thought the exact same thing. Like, maybe I should have a landing page where they can click like weddings or this, like I was really like trying to figure out all of these options. But instead, what I did was I found what I call in my course your superpower, which is like it's like an umbrella over everything you're doing. So for me, it's holistic photography. So everything that I do, whether that's coaching photographers or whether that's family sessions or weddings, I approach it holistically, meaning like, I care about the photos, but I care more about the growth and the, everything that's happening beneath the surface. And so I just found a way to make it cohesive, even though they were different things. Okay. And so, and so you could be like, and if you wanted to check out my website, if you go to photosbyariel.com, there will be like immediately it'll say like holistic photography, weddings, newborns, families, whatever. And then if you go down, it'll say, I'm here because I'm getting married. I'm here because I'm having a baby, or I'm just celebrating life or something like that. And so like, having those options for them to click something pretty quickly that says, this is what I'm here for, is a really great way to get them to where they need to go. Because obviously you're going to talk to, oh my goodness, you're going to talk to somebody who owns a business different than you're going to talk to a senior. And right. So, just kind of having a general homepage telling them about you, giving them those kind of options of what you offer, and then sending them to a separate page of the different things. That's what I would do. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, because I get that question a lot. Like, should I have a different social media for my different businesses? And I'm like, nope, merge it all together. I just had a client the other day hire me off of Instagram. And I was like, dude, I don't talk to anybody but photographers on there. Like, literally my Instagram is for photographers, not for clients. And she was like, oh no, I just saw your marketing stuff and talking to other photographers. And I was like, wow, this girl knows what she's doing. We should hire her. And I was like, see, like, you think it's going to like turn people away, but really it just like, people are smart. It's not like it used to be where it was like people were stupid and you have to really make it black and white, people are smart and they're not going to let something like that, turn them away or something. Right. So, yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. More questions. What do you have?
Okay, let me think here. Okay, so like the balance between posting personal and business, like what, like the balance, because I just had somebody reach out that told me you need to be posting more, like I want to get to know you more on my business page. And I realize that, and I know that as like when I'm looking to hire somebody, I want to make sure that who I'm hiring I'm going to feel comfortable with. And so I know that people need to get to know me other than my typed words on an Instagram post. But I struggle with, do they want to see work, or do they want to see like me taking my daughter to dance, or, my dog's playing in the yard, or, my husband and I on a date? Like, what's the balance, or what do you recommend?
In general, I tell photographers that it should be like an 80-20. So 80% of it should not be have anything to do with what you sell or do. So a really good way to balance this, because I know that not a lot of photographers have branding photos of ourselves. And so a really good way to balance this is what I started doing when I was kind of growing my business in this way. I would post a sneak peek, but with a personal story and something like that. So like I posted a sneak peek of this little girl who was just a strong-willed child, but I was a strong-willed child. And so what I did in this post was I said, while you're thinking, oh my gosh, this photographer thinks I don't discipline my kid. And I really painted this picture of what moms feel when their child just like starts going crazy during a photo session. And you're like, all of the concerns you have, like, oh my gosh, they think I'm the worst mom ever. And then I was like, but what I'm actually thinking is, oh my gosh, this little girl is just like me. Like, oh my goodness, this takes me back. This mom is so good. All these things that are actually going through my mind. And, not only did that assure them and calm a fear about the photo session process that moms have, but it was also kind of like a personal story. They learned about me, that I was a strong-willed child and that I was the defiant one that made my parents want to pull my hair out, and that, like all of these things, but all, those are the things that make people connect to you. And the more that you can get someone to connect to you as a person and not as just your photos, the more willing they're going to be to pay a little bit of a higher dollar, the more willing they're going to be able to stay loyal to you even as you grow and your prices change, because it's not about your photos and your business. It's more about the connection that they have with you as a person.
Sure.
And so I think that posting personal stuff is scary, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
But I will say this, because a lot of times people think, oh, if I just post a personal story, it'll do well. And then it doesn't do well. And then you're like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But what I found was at the beginning, I had to post personal stories that related to them or photography in some way. So it was really heavy on here's free education, here's free education, here's free education. And then it was like personal story, here's some helpful tips. And then it was like, now I can literally get on and like do a live video of my daughter dumping cornstarch all over the kitchen, and I'll get like 8 inquiries that day. Yeah. But I had to earn that. Like I had to really establish that with them first. And so while I do think personal stuff is valuable, I do think it's something that you have to balance it first.
Sure.
Yeah. Hopefully that made sense. But
okay.
Oh goodness.
I'm trying to think what else I had.
Do you use Facebook or just Instagram?
So I link my posts from Instagram is my place, but I also know that it's two completely separate entities that deserve completely separate attention. And I know that, but I don't do it.
When I stopped sharing my posts from Instagram, I quadrupled my engagement.
So were you doing separate on Facebook?
So even though I was posting the exact same post, so same words, same picture, when I got on Facebook and I scheduled the post on there, and then I got on Instagram and posted it on there, my engagement went way higher on Facebook than whenever I just linked it to it.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, Facebook and Instagram's goal is to get you to stay on their platform as long as possible. So they're going to reward the people who are on their platform, essentially. And so even now, even though it takes me twice as long because I have to get on there and schedule it on there, that's what I do. So, and it changes so much. And honestly, when it comes to those types of things, give it a little bit of time too. We like to make things like, we want to see that immediate like gratification, like we want instant success. But when I started really like doing personal branding and like emotional marketing and things like that, I, you know, my post and engagement increased like every single month, but it was about 6 months in, that's when it exploded. So, but 6 months, that's a long time to not get discouraged. Like 6 months, everybody's like, oh, I can do 6 months. But when it's day after day of you posting stories after stories that are like emotional to you, that you care about, and that, you know, it took you forever to write this really good post and it gets like no engagement and you're like, you know, like you don't want to keep going. But I just like kept pushing myself and kept pushing myself. And then sooner or later, Facebook was like, oh, hey, this girl's doing something different than she was doing. We should show her posts to people. And then the engagement started increasing, and then more people would start sharing the posts and things like that. And that was like, you know, and then I got a little bit more encouragement, you know, but it probably took about 6 full months for me to see, you know, all the effects of it.
So then do you use something to schedule your posts? Like, do you sit down on a Sunday or whenever and then like plan your posts out for the week, or how do you do it?
Yeah. So once a month, I get together with 2 of my girlfriends that are our fellow business owners, and I plan my content. And the reason I do it with them is because I get distracted when I stay in my own home and do it. But we kind of hold each other accountable because we're all pretty focused business owners. And so like, we'll go to a coffee shop, we'll sit down, and I'll plan my month of content. Now, what I mean by that is that I plan the topics. So I'll say, you know, on Monday, you know, I'm going to post about this. On Tuesday, I'm going to post about this. On Wednesday, I'm going to post about this. Thursday, I'm going to make a post, 2 different posts, and they're going to be linking to my blog so that people go visit my blog. Friday, I'm going to do, you know, this or whatever. And I will like sit there and plan it all out. And then, so that whole month is planned. And then every Thursday, I'll look at the upcoming week's post and I will write every single one and schedule them. And so the app I use to schedule Instagram is called Tailwind, but they have a partnership with Instagram, and so does Later. Later is another popular one. They have a partnership with Instagram, so they don't penalize you for using that. But I will say that if I do not spend an adequate amount of time on Instagram engaging with my ideal client, not people that I want to engage with, but like, you know, genuinely going to like photographers' profiles and like keeping up with like the people that I'm trying to reach, then Instagram gives me more engagement from those people. Right. So yeah, so I've just always tried to, even though I'm using a scheduling platform, I usually will get on Instagram and Facebook once a day and just like, let's be honest, more than once a day. And like, and just like engage with like my followers and things like that. So, yeah, but.
So then are your months kind of themed? Like, do you try to like, maybe not themed is the right word, but like, I don't know, try to tell a story through several posts?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm feeling a theme. Sometimes no. Right now I have like a series on Facebook called Marriage Monday. I asked my moms on Facebook, you know, what is at heart, you know, because my goal is to really keep marriages and families to intentionally engage with one another, you know, that psychological aspect of, of photography. I asked them, you know, like, what's harder for you to be intentional with your marriage or motherhood? And surprisingly, like 300 people said marriage. And I was like, really? So I have been doing a series called Marriage Monday. And this week I have a poll going on what they want to see this upcoming Monday about making time to be intimate with your husband, or about what to do when you have a critical spouse. Like real topics. Like these are like, we're
That's
getting
good.
real quick. Like my followers know me, and like, you know, and it was so, I remember the very first time I posted a personal story and how like, I mean, I think I checked back like every 2 seconds. Like, okay, does it have any likes? Does it have any likes? Like, who's looking at it? You know, like freaking out that like, you know, am I being judged or like what's happening? You know, and it was a gradual process. I didn't like jump in there talking about intimacy and marriage. Like, that's been, you know, it's been well over a year with these people. So it's like, you know, but I just kind of include them in on decisions like that and stuff too. But oh my goodness, what was your original question?
I think we were talking about like scheduling posts. Do you create like a theme, like when you
the themes?
When you sit down and do your month, do you like have a game plan, or are you just like, oh, Monday I'm going to do this, Tuesdays I do this, Wednesdays I do this?
No, I don't do that because I think I don't have any proof of this, but I think that the algorithm knows. And so I try not to do too many of like the same. Now, that being said, like on Instagram, I do Social Media Monday. Every Monday I give you guys a free social media post. And then on Tuesdays, I always post an IGTV video. But in general, it's different. So in my course, I have like, I talk about there's 6 different types of content that photographers need to be posting. And really, it's the same thing I teach all of my businesses that I do branding photos for, because they get a free marketing consultation. And so it's like, all businesses should be posting these 6 categories, and only one of them is your products or services. And so what are those other, you know, like, and so I have categories, but it's like, but they're not necessarily like, but they're kind of like a guidepost, you know? So like, I might say, oh, I need to post, like one of them is inspiration. And so whether that might be, I do a live video about my messy house, and this was my plan for dinner, and now I'm ordering pizza. And that is inspiring to moms, especially when my ideal client is working moms and they feel like they're failing at their business and at their parenting and at cooking and all the things. And so like to see that like this other mom is struggling with the same things, that's encouraging to them, you know? So that's, you know, or maybe I like will create an iPhone background or something that has like an inspirational quote that moms would love. And then I'm like, here's a freebie, you know, right click, save it, you know, whatever. And so I have categories that I try to meet every week, but it's not necessarily like a theme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, do you know what times you should be posting?
I don't, but I've heard like you should be posting several times a day, like different times a day. But I don't know the exact answer to that.
Okay. So Instagram cares more, well, all the platforms are beginning to care more about quality over quantity. So it used to be that people said post a bajillion times a day. Like you need to post like 4 or 5 times a day. And that was whenever there wasn't an algorithm. So every time we would click open to get on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, we would just see posts in the time that they were posted. So like whatever was posted most recently is what we saw. So what they would say was, you know, basically you want to be at the top of the feed all the time so that when people get on, they see your stuff. But that's no longer the case. So now, you know, Instagram really focuses on the relationships that you have with people. So for example, I'm not going to be surprised if over the next coming weeks, you see a bunch of my posts at the top of your feed, because I've been tagging you in my stories. You've been sharing me on your stories, and we've been direct messaging each other. Instagram knows that. And so it says, oh, look, they have a relationship. They want to see each other's stuff. So we're going to show them her stuff and, you know, whatever. And so, you know, now it's less about, you know, how many times a day you're posting and stuff, but just making sure that you're posting good quality content and for the right people. And I mean, it does matter what time, but if you go over to your Instagram, is it a business profile?
Yes.
Okay. And you can check your insights and it will tell you your followers what time of day they're on.
Right.
So I would look at that, and whatever is in like the dark blue, like it'll say like 9 a.m. on Thursdays, 8 p.m. on Fridays, whatever. Like it'll tell you the exact times on the days that your followers are most active. Post at those times.
Yeah.
And then now on Facebook, and Instagram, it's actually the opposite now. Instagram will penalize you for posting too many posts a day. They think that you're starting to be spammy. So I just got done with like a social media certification, and that was one of the things that I learned on there was that, and I was like, well, that's interesting. It's good to know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now on Facebook, they don't penalize you. And I have found that when I only post once a day on Facebook, my engagement goes down. Now that's my audience though. Business owners are totally different. I post every day at 7 a.m. ish, 6:50 to 7 a.m. And by that, I mean, I schedule it. And then I post every day around 8-ish p.m. because the two times that moms get on their phones the most is in the morning, right when they wake up, and when their kids are in bed and they're freaking exhausted and they just want to mindlessly scroll, and that's what they do. And so like, that's what so I just really try to get into the mind of my ideal client and post when they're on. So
sorry, she's breathing so hard in my face.
It's okay, I love it. Hi, baby.
She steals the show.
I love it. I love it. Oh man. See, and even sharing like about your dog and being like, do you have a, puppy or whatever, and like what you love about dogs, and people including dogs in their photo sessions, or even like, here's some tips if you want to, whatever, like, just sharing them about bits of your life, but also applying it to them. Those are always like the posts that do the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, who could not love that face? That's the cutest little thing.
Right. She is sweet.
I love it. Oh my goodness. And then, so do you feel like, as far as like clientele and stuff, like you're where kind of you want to be?
I think for now, yes. I think for now I am. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely in the busiest winter I've ever experienced. So I feel like I'm going in the right direction.
Yes.
With my business. I definitely still feel like I have a ton to learn, and I will probably always have a ton to learn.
Yeah, there's always stuff to learn.
That's good. I mean, I feel like if you don't feel that way, then you're not in it for the right reasons. So yeah, I mean, I'm very content. I definitely have goals and dreams for where I'd like to go in the future, but I just take it one day at a time and do what I can and learn as much as I can. I feel like I've really been diving into education and just like getting out there and doing the work.
Yeah, you showed up on here. You're the first one, so
I showed up.
Look at you go. I love it. Another thing, I just had an idea. Whenever you if you talk to somebody, and let's say you do this content club thing or something, if you do a branding session with them, whenever you send them their gallery, you could say something at the end like, thank you so much for your branding session, blah, blah, blah. I just started this content club program. If you wanted to, upgrade or whatever to this package, you could get, Oh, someone said my favorite photographer on a live interview. How awesome. Kelly's the best. She is. I already love her, and I've only known her for like an hour. So no.
That's my sister, by the way.
Oh, well, that makes it even better because sisters, like,
I know, sisters are the best. That's for sure.
I love it. I love it. Oh yeah, but you could ask them if they wanted to like upgrade, and so like kind of like when you send them the gallery, and then I've done that with my newborn packages. Like if somebody just did a newborn session or like a belly to baby, when I send them their gallery, I will say to them like, hey, you know, for the next 15 days, if you choose to upgrade to baby's first year, you know, this is what you'll get. And it's not a different price than what my baby's first year normally costs. It's just that they've already now they're like seen and in love with the photos, and they're like, yeah, why not? That sounds like a great idea. And then they just like jump into it. And so like that might be a really good thing if you wanted to.
That is a good idea. No, I really do love that. Yes. I think that's a great idea.
And I think also the bridal shop, I mean, if they're still on here, I don't know, but working out a deal with her if you wanted to start taking charge of her social media, and then just kind of getting some testimonials from her, and making social media posts about that testimonial, about those testimonials or whatever, or with those as like the caption, and then talking about the importance of having, or, you know, as business owners, we wear a million different hats, you know, let me take one of those off for you. Like, you know, let me have that. And so, you know,
she is killing it on her social media game. So I think creating content for her is all she needs from me.
Oh, okay.
So she's doing a fantastic job.
Oh, good. Well, find one of the clients that you didn't mind working with that maybe could use some help on social media, and see if like, you know, one of them or something, if you wanted to kind of get into that game. But yeah. Well,
okay, so something else, I don't remember if it was in a message to you or if it's something we talked about, but I see somebody else on here who I love very, very much, and she just paid me a compliment. Her name is Mindy, and she's a photographer near me, and we had talked about, I think it was when we talked, and I had made the comment about like we were created to be in relationship with others. Mm-hmm. And I could not believe more in that statement than I do, like, I don't know, like, because of the situation that I lived with my daughter, and then trying to get into a market that is very saturated with other amazing photographers in my area, I was very overwhelmed with that. I was intimidated. I felt like, who am I? Like, there's people ahead of me who are doing wonderful things, but I knew in my heart that this is what I was meant to do. Like, it gave me something. It filled me up, and like I couldn't ignore that. And so something that I would recommend to other photographers on here, other people pursuing a dream or business, is not to be afraid to reach out to the people in the same industry that you're in. Because my friend that's on here, Mindy, she is a brilliant photographer in the area, and I was so scared to reach out to her, and she is now one of my dearest friends, and I consider her a great mentor. And if I didn't have her, or have like somebody to be able to call and be like, hey, I'm feeling this, or hey, I have a question about this, and I trust her, I probably would be very lost in certain situations. And so I think having a mentor, but also being willing to mentor others, is a huge gift. And that's what we're supposed to do. Like, we're supposed to raise up these generations behind us, or even like not even behind us. Maybe they're a little bit older than us, but like, we can give away knowledge. and it doesn't cost us anything.
100%. And
Yeah.
I love that. And if I'm being 100% honest, that was a really hard lesson for me to learn, because I have always been independent. Like I said, I was the strong-willed child. Like, I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. It's fine. You know, like, I can do everything all by myself. And like, I was just determined to make my dreams a reality alone. And it's not a very fun road when you do it that way. And gosh, you know, when I finally let people in, like other photographers, and I let them like pour into me, and I was willing and open to like sharing what I had learned with other people, that is when growth occurred. Because that's the thing, is like what you said, we were not meant to live life alone. And you know, at all times I was talking to one of my fellow women boss babes, who just is an amazing person. She's a hairstylist coach lady. She's amazing. Lisa Huff Hair. But anyway, I was talking to her today, and we were saying how at all points in our like business, we should have somebody who we're like aspiring to be like. We should have somebody who's just a few steps ahead of us that is able to pour into us. We should have someone who's in the same boat as us to like relate to, and to be able to call and like get frustrated about things too, and like vent, and just, you know, whatever, like to be there for each other. And then we should have somebody that we're pouring into. Absolutely. And yes, and I just think I loved that. Like, I just love each of those relationships has something to offer. And, you know, and I love that you said that on your call too.
Yeah. And on the flip side to that too, I mean, I have had some situations where people in the industry maybe weren't kind, or, you know, and that can be very deflating. But it also, like, you learn what you don't want to be like. And also, like, and that's what I feel like with so many things in my life, is like, when I experience like an annoyance with a bad driver, or like, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it always teaches me how I don't want to be. Like, I don't want to be like that. And so I would also say to people, like, if you reach out to someone and they give you a cold shoulder, or like they just don't give you what you're looking for, then they're not the right people for you. And just keep asking, keep pursuing, because the right people are out. And in my experience, people are kind, like, more often than not. And so you'll find the right person.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. Everything you just said. I love it. I love it. And that's why I'm so excited about this. And I hope that it'll just keep going for, I don't even know how long, but I hope that it helps other photographers to, you know, not just learn a few things about marketing, but also just to connect with each other. And that, you know, you guys will, you know, that somebody on here tonight heard your story, connected with you, you know, just had that connection with you, and reaches out to you, follows you, you know, maybe you guys start a relationship, an Instagram relationship together, you know, like, and, you know, just how valuable, you know, those things really actually are. And so, you know, hopefully it'll be so good, but we'll see. But thank you for being so brave, and hopefully it wasn't as bad as you thought.
No, I really enjoyed it. Like, it just feels like talking to a friend, and like, I could do this again for sure.
Good. Well, if no one else signs up over these next couple of weeks, I'm going to be like, hey, you want to hop on again and talk about something else this time?
I would love to. I'm always here for you.
I love it. I love it. Well, why don't you, of course, they'll be able to see your handle, I think, when I repost the story. But if not, why don't you tell them where they can follow you? And because I think I'm going to get kicked off here in like a few minutes. But
so my business page is Direction Photography by Kelly. I do have a personal page if you want to follow me there, and it's Hubert Honeys, Hubert Honeys, Honeys. I'm Direction Photography by Kelly on Facebook, Kelly Fish Hubert on Facebook. My website is directionphotography.net. I'm here to talk. I'm
Yay.
here for anyone.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. You just have the sweetest spirit. Like literally
Aw.
the entire phone conversation we had and then this whole conversation, I was just
Oh,
like, just love
thank
your
you.
heart. I love your heart.
Thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to building a relationship with you. And I mean, we're really not that far from each other.
No. I'm like, now I know I can just come up there and get some branding photos done. You know,
That's right.
I'll be in Chicago on Thursday. No, I'm sorry. I know how much we love last minute appointments like that. So, no.
We could do headshots for each other.
Yes. I'm all for that.
Me too.
I'm all for trading services. That's the way to go when it comes. I'm like, why would I pay someone to do what I can do?
I know.
But you know, but I love supporting other people too. So it's the best of both worlds. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Well, we'll be in touch about that. But
Okay.
thank you so much for hopping on here.
Yes, it was so great chatting with you, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.